Welcome to the first episode of Sciencey Stuff, the survival of red mangroves by Janae and Julia. Today, we are going to tackle the question, how are certain plants able to survive in salt water? So we all know plants such as sunflowers or algae can survive in either fresh water or just plain old dirt. But what would happen if you decided to put these organisms in, say, the ocean? Well, unfortunately, they would all die. The salt would eliminate the water from the plants and they would become dehydrated. Let's expand on this. Plants go through a process called photosynthesis, where sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide are needed to create food for the plant. In this case, I drew a tomato.
And that's Jane that spelled tomato wrong. Not me, Jane. Yeah.
If salt is added into the water intake, the fluid inside the cells would become hypotonic, or have a lower concentration of salt compared to the concentration of the fluid surrounding the cells, which would be hypertonic. Therefore, osmosis would occur and the water would move from inside the cell through the cell's membrane into the surrounding solution. As a result, plasmolysis would occur, causing the plant to become dehydrated and die.
Now you may be wondering what plasmolysis is. Before we explain, it is important to understand what osmosis is. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules from a low solute, the thing that dissolves, concentration to a high solute concentration, in an attempt to dilute the higher concentration of solute to even out the ratio of solute to water on each side of the membrane. So basically, the water molecules move from the hypotonic solution to the hypertonic solution. So in this case, water would move from inside the cells to the external solution to even out the overall salt concentration and therefore dehydrate the cells. Note, the salt does not move through the membrane and even out itself because it is an ion and has an electron charge that prevents it from moving across without help of other molecules. Anyways, back to the cells giving off water and being dehydrated. In the process of being dehydrated, the cells would go through plasmolysis, in which they would shrink, dry out, crumple in size, and eventually die. However, there are specific plants that can survive off of using salt water due to evolution and adaptations. One example of a plant that can live in salt water are Rhizophoraceae, aka red mangroves. Not sure if that's how you pronounce it. Red mangroves are a type of aquatic plant that live off of the shallow coast of tropical ocean areas. The roots of the red mangrove are able to obtain water from the ocean by pumping out magnesium ions. These positive ions force other positive ions, such as sodium, a key component in salt, out of the root. The high concentration of magnesium in the root creates a high potential energy around its cell's membranes, and this attracts water in from the surrounding seawater. That's supposed to be a root, and those blue squiggly lines are supposed to represent water molecules. Also, ignore that weird sound because that was my dog. By reducing the amount of salt going in, red mangroves are able to have a sustainable concentration of salt in their system, which also reduces the amount of water needed from the cells to balance the concentrations of the internal and external solutions. Therefore, osmosis takes place less frequently and less severely, which is much healthier for the plant. Here is a picture of a red mangrove flexing its bicep, because it's healthy. Yay! Well, that concludes episode 1 of Sciencey Stuff by Janae and Julia. Tune in next time for the next episode.